Hello everybody, today we've got an unexpected mail day. Unexpected because along with getting some Russian cards for my friend who asked me to get some cards for his collection, I also managed to obtain a couple of upgrades, if you wish, for some of my old school Magic cards. So there is some foreign black bordered goodness and a couple of older original old school cards. But I also managed to obtain one more Ultra Pro Playmat. So in case you have been wondering what this red background is, it's just your very basic run-of-the-mill Ultra Pro Playmat. This thing is incredibly cheap, it's about $10, so it's nothing fancy as some, let's say, vintage event playmats that costs about 100, 200 or something like that. I have seen some very nice limited edition things such as Ancestral Recall playmat, signed playmats, and so on and so forth. I have none of that, mainly because I'm maybe not really careful with my playmat, so I know that if I get a playmat it will serve me for maybe a year and then it will be time to throw it away. So just to film these videos and play the kitchen table that I'm currently sitting at, I have got these Ultra Pro playmats, and I've got plenty of them, and they still have them in stock even 3 years after. So I imagine that they still have plenty of these, so I will not run out of my trademark playmat. Now let's take a look at the first shipment. The first shipment consists of the cards that we are not talking about because they're not pre-modern boarded. But we also have got this Goblin rock sled. I never figured out what to do with this card, and I have never played it even in a Goblin deck, even one copy for a flavor. I don't think it's a good card, but nevertheless, here is the German the Dark. But wait, it cannot be German the Dark, can it? No, it's just a 1995 Renaissance card, I guess. Then we've got these that are again not for me. But we also have got Angelic Voices that were listed as legends, but they aren't fooling anybody. Obviously we know that these are Chronicles, and Angelic Voices is a card I wanted to play with for some time, so there is a little hint for you that there is an artifact deck with white upcoming, especially now that I have got 2 Argivian archaeologists. I think the highlight of this particular small shipment would be Circle of Protection Red from Beta. And I don't have a lot of beta cards, I actually have more alpha than beta cards, but I think that this particular card is so iconic. And if we look here, I think that the mana symbol is really offset. I'm not sure whether it's the feature of beta in general or this is some kind of a misprint. I don't think it's a misprint. I'm just trying to understand whether all beta Circle of Protection Red are like that or not. But yeah, that's very interesting. And also it's nice that it's not incredibly expensive, but it's a card that I certainly use. I would say that out of all sideboard strategies, Circle of Protection Red might have been the most feared one, because mono red typically doesn't have anything to counter Circle of Protection Red, and in the best case scenario they will have a Chaos Orb or maybe the Minerals Disc, but I know myself how many games I have lost to that and how many games I have won by having Circle of Protection Red in my sideboard. And then we have got Titania's Song. I only had the white bordered edition, but speaking of artifacts, again, this card can be really interesting. You can use it to kill your opponent's Moxen. You can use it to animate some of your bigger artifacts. So also definitely a card to build a deck around. I don't know why I mixed this up. And finally, we have got Pendelhaven. This Pendelhaven, as you understand, is from Anthologies. This is not the edition that I would typically go for, but I just wanted to have a third copy because very often I found that I really want to have more than 2 Pendelhavens. You know, there is also this idea that well, doesn't matter. Let's not talk about that. We'll talk about that, we'll have it a little bit later. And actually we have already talked about it, because you might have seen my video on legendary lands from Legends. So it's not going to be a special debate about every single card from the shipment. So I'm just going to try and understand. Okay, so these are the cards that are not for me. These are the foils. Rather nice, quite beautiful, but they are curling, as you can expect, of course. Again, that's not something I am in control of. And we have got these again. Yeah, I'm sorry for offending you with the new cards. And look, there is a token. No, it's not a token, is it? I don't understand what it is. Is it a card sleeve like that? Yeah. Seems like it. Okay. I've never been a fan of these cutesy Star City Games sleeves. Anyway, what have we got here? We have got an extra copy of Mesa Pegasus. And we have got a lot of Korean cards. We've got a ton of different Korean cards. The 4th edition, 4 in black bordered. A very interesting story. I don't know actually why this happened, why this store had so many Korean cards, but I bought them all, I could safely say. Maybe almost all, but I really bought a large portion of 4 in black bordered Korean cards that they had, and they didn't have any other 4 in black bordered cards. I'm not sure what it's about. Maybe there was a person who used to live in Korea, and then this person came here and sold all of their cards. I'm really not sure, but these cards look quite well played, some of them. So I don't know, black border is black border, right? I know that there are some people who don't like that, but then again, what really, annoys me is that some people who are opposed to having, let's say, 4 in black bordered reissues, they will be happy about having, let's say, unlimited, but they don't like reissued cards, they don't like revised. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that sometimes people don't have any objective criteria, and sometimes they just bash the cheapest cards, which I don't think is a really honest thing to do. But anyway, so yes, there is Weakness, there is Ragman, as we have seen. There is also Shapeshifter, a really underrated card. I played it in my Brothers of Fire Singleton deck. I really liked it. There is one more, Thought Lace, a card I really like, just because of its art. It has no purpose at all, no purpose really, except for maybe using your Spinal Villain. That's a combo. Siren's Call, thinking of building a deck around it. Not really around it, but trying to use it maybe with some wall tricks and such. Energy Tab, again, always loved it, but found no use for it, obviously, as you can see. The thing I like most about it is that this sphere seems to be 3D rendered. I don't actually think that it was rendered in 3D. I mean, the old school artists, I don't think they really used CGI. The only CGI card is Circle of Protection Black, and certainly not something that was rendered in 3D Studio. So definitely not. But the visuals are nice here. Earth Elemental, I used to have none of them, but now I have too many. Stone Giant. The font on Korean cards is really bold, and I really like it. I mean, of course, well, it depends on the language. I understand how this works roughly. I'm not a big, I would say, connoisseur of the Korean language, but well, at least I do understand that this is Korean when I look at it. So, Brothers of Fire. Remember, it was released in 1996 and it had black border because this was the very first edition to have these particular cards in Korean. We've got Eternal Warrior, again a card I really want to have in my deck, but it's just such a shame to waste one extra card, and anyway your opponent will usually kill the enchanted creature. Same goes for Fire Breathing. Such a shame that auras really don't have a chance to shine nowadays, with everybody having extremely efficient removal. So yes, as we said, there is Living Lands, yes, Lure or Lure, whatever you prefer. Thunderbolts, I actually had one exactly in the same language, exactly the same edition, Pure Lace. I only had one, I think. Flying Carpet, a glorious card that was errated, as you might be aware of. So the creature that is riding the carpet does not die nowadays. Bottle of Suleiman used to have only one, now I have too many again. El Hajjaj, card I also wanted to build a deck around. I mean, I wanted to have a kind of a Spirit Link life gain deck, white and black, and I'm not sure it's going to work. I have play tested it, but it could work as an extremely janky deck. Maybe Warp Artifact as an idea for, let's say, blue, I'm sorry, not blue, but green and black Enchantress. Sea Serpent, absolutely useless. Water Elemental, exactly the same as Fire Elemental, but not so appealing for obvious reasons. Apprentice Wizard, there is a video coming up on Dan Fraser and his artwork, and there is something really amazing in case you haven't noticed it. We will definitely talk about it really soon. The Falcon card I actually feared when I started playing Magic. I always thought that Vigilance was extremely good, and I found it even a little bit unfair that my opponent could attack me and then defend using this card. I remember opponent putting Unstable Mutation on the Falcon and actually being really fearsome. Then we have got another foreign black bordered card, which is not Korean anymore. So Merfolk of the Pearl Trident is I think Spanish, yes. Is it though? Is it Spanish or Portuguese? Yeah, I should be ashamed. I think that this is Spanish, but I'm not entirely sure. I have to check that. And a couple more Korean cards. Pretty much useless, but the art is really good. And Backfire, I know I used to think that this was this guy's claw. So he has a big claw like a crab, and he's stretching it, reaching out for something, but in reality it's just a dinosaur of a mage. And I don't know, they have some kind of a connection, and because of this connection he's suffering while the dinosaur is suffering. So I don't know what it's about, but this is all pretty confusing. And actually this card might be used, but I haven't seen it anywhere. Anyway, that is all. Nothing really special, as I wanted to say again. But I wanted to ask you whether you find the idea of using black bordered foreign cards appealing or not. Maybe if you're in the United States, where people are a little bit more tolerant to, you know, reissues and reprints, maybe you actually approve of that. But maybe you don't, and that's fine. Just want to know what you think. Some people dislike foreign cards just because they can't read the text, but I think that in old school the text is not really relevant, because so many things have changed and we always have to look up the exact wording in the Oracle. Anyway, that is all. I don't think I will be buying any cards soon, and even this pile was pretty cheap. The whole pile, I would say, was about $20. That is it then. Bye.